What's going on, guys? It's Brad back with another video, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to discuss a shadowing opportunity that I just had today, and I literally just left the hospital, and I figured what better time to talk about it than now.
Are you listening? Nurse Pass. Beast mode. Grinding.
And so, for those of you now getting back into my channel, you'll know that I'm currently on the pursuit of nurse anesthesia, and I'm beginning my shadowing opportunities. The last time that I've shadowed was back whenever I was a circulator in the OR back in 2019. So we're like 5 years now. It's really like 4, but 4 to 5 years now after the fact, and I'm finally getting back into the OR, finally getting back to shadowing, and now that I'm working back in the CVICU and I'm dead set on this direction, I'm really wanting to get as much shadowing time as I can. So today was my first opportunity, and I was able to link up with the CRNA who was recommended to me by a fellow CVICU nurse who recovers a lot of hearts that come out of the OR from this CRNA, and she just spoke super highly of this CRNA. And so thankfully I cold emailed this lady, and thankfully she's just going so above and beyond to just really try and facilitate any shadowing opportunities that I can get my hands on. So very, very fortunate and blessed in that regard. And so today was a shadow in the CVOR, shadowing and observing a cabbage. And for those of you that don't know, coronary artery bypass graft, an open heart patient. And these are the patients that I recover fresh from the OR every day. But now I'm getting the shadow in the CVOR and see the procedure actually occur. Now I've gotten to shadow an open heart in the past. And whenever I did that in the past, I was doing so really from an intraoperative perspective, being able to scrub in, be sterile, hold the heart, do those kinds of things as part of the actual surgical procedure, but not having been able to shadow a nurse anesthetist during an open heart procedure. And so today was that day. I was very, very excited. I did prep work beforehand. I went ahead and printed out some shadowing forms that I made up myself so that I could actually document what procedures were performed, what anesthetics were used, the date, location of the facility, and how many hours that I actually spent shadowing. So that way, whenever I actually get to be application ready, I'll already have, hopefully, a long, nice list of procedures, dates, hours that I've been able to accumulate, observe, and be a part of throughout my prep journey toward nurse anesthesia school. It was really, really awesome being in there, being at the head of the bed the entire time, and just picking the brain and absorbing as much as I could from this nurse anesthetist who has been rocking and rolling in her profession now for like 8 years. And so just really awesome to be able to pick the brain of a seasoned nurse anesthetist, getting to see them do the pre-op, which this is something that I was very much so looking forward to and wanting to see, right? What I love most about working in the CVICU, aside from the hemodynamic management of the fresh post-op patient, is the fact that I get to take care of somebody who is at their most vulnerable. It's not something that I ever thought about necessarily whenever I was thinking about going into ICU nursing. But now that I've been doing it for several years, it's one of the things that I love the most, because in my opinion, and this is not to sound cliche or cheesy or anything of that nature, in my opinion, I am in a position to do a sacred work. I'm taking care of somebody who mentally is completely gone from this world. Their body, they're so vulnerable and basically are leaving their bodies and lives in our hands, and we're supposed to hemodynamically manage them, get them extubated post-operatively, and set them up for post-op success. It seems to me even more so that to what greater capacity could you be doing that than as working as a nurse anesthetist? That's one of the things that excites me the most about the career is, yeah, you're truly taking this person's life into your hands. You're taking full accountability for their well-being intraoperatively and making sure that you're delivering them into a wonderful state post-operatively and trying to set them up for success post-operatively. And man, just being able to see the pre-op portion of this nurse anesthetist going and speaking with this patient, somebody who is on the precipice of having their chest cut open and having their heart physically worked on. Just such a beautiful thing to be able to see. To be able to see this nurse anesthetist talking to this patient preoperatively, to see how nervous and anxious this patient is, naturally so. to be able to see this nurse anesthetist give a little bit of Versed, takes the edge off, puts the patient in a much more calm state of being. I don't know. It's difficult to talk about it without coming across as sounding cliche. Not that I really care what people think, but the point being that it really does resonate within me deeply to be able to see this person preoperatively, knowing what they're about to go into, and knowing that as I'm talking to them, they understand that it would be me who's going to be there at the head of the bed with them, who's going to be there with them before they get started, as we get started. And, you know, if it wasn't a post-op part, you're going to see me. It's going to be the first face you see whenever we get you awake and extubated. And I don't know, man, just something so special about it. So being able to see that was really, really wonderful. I don't mean to keep rambling on about the pre-op, but that was really, really awesome. Then intraoperatively, seeing the induction phase, seeing them intubate, seeing the CRNA work with the anesthesiologist who is helping place the arterial line and is placing the central line and getting the pulmonary artery catheter in, and they're just working in conjunction with each other to help take care of this patient at the head of the bed. And then the intraoperative phase, you know, once the surgery actually gets rolling, seeing the CRNA just, I don't know, man, like, it's really cool. It reminds me of whenever I was a brand new registered nurse starting to do orientation in the CVICU. It's like, how are you managing all these different pumps with all these little drips and all these lines and knowing where everything's going and all that? And now here I am years later having a very high comfortability with all of these lines and all of these drips and having a patient on multiple drips. And what do I titrate first? And all those things, I have a higher level of comfortability. But then to take all of that and to throw that into an OR and to watch the CRNA work, man, as this patient's having their chest cut open and all this is being done, the nurse anesthetist titrating drips, titrating her isoflurane, just all of the things that she pushes of meds, knowing all of these dosages and concentrations and everything that you've got drawn up into syringes, this whole spread of medications at your disposal that she's just giving pushes of all throughout the case, and all of the monitoring that she's doing all throughout the case, and just truly taking the patient's full hemodynamic profile into account, taking all these things into account, and keeping the patient stable all throughout the procedure. Was just like, you're now watching a master at work, right? If you've ever heard that little tagline, like, it was like watching a master at work. You're just sitting here, pop, 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 you're titrating the gas. And the most impressive thing of it was all of the anticipation of just knowing what's coming next, what the surgeon's about to do next, understanding that I need to preemptively be going up on my gas, or I might preemptively need to go ahead and get some nicardipine started before we get out of the OR, because I know once I start turning this gas down, I'm no longer going to be having as much vasodilation, the blood pressure is going to be going up, we're going to have compensatory hypertension, and now we got to start the patient on a nicardipine drip. Just, there were a lot of things that happened. There were a lot of moving parts that occurred, but being able to be at the head of the bed for my first shadowing experience in like 5 years, I didn't really need any additional confirmation that this is the career that I want to pursue, but it did just give me an additional level of confirmation, like, yeah, man, you're in the right place, you're trying to pursue the right career, just all of the wheels that are turning the entire time, and just how amazing the experience was.